This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. In light of the pandemic of COVID-19 throughout the world, a certain subset of people have an additional problem. If you are a hearing aid wearer, if you have a hearing loss, like I do, there's a real problem. Watch. Yep, they pop out, they fall on the floor, and you cannot hear anybody. We're going to see if we can help people like me, because I need some help on this, with Eric Branda. Eric Branda is the Director of Applied Audiological Research for WS Audiology. One of their companies, hearing companies, is Signia, and we welcome you back to Late Night Health, Eric.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
I'm really curious. Is this something that you've heard about with hearing aid people, or am I alone in just being klutzy with my mask?
This is actually something that we've been hearing about a little bit more because we've started wearing masks and there's a big change. I mean, there's changes on every aspect of communication with it. First, I'm glad that you are wearing the hearing aids with it because as anybody even noticed when you took your mask off, it was much easier to hear and understand you when you took your mask off just a couple minutes ago. Because when the mask is on there, we lose visual cues and we lose some of the high frequencies that are important for clarity and understanding. So those go away. And with somebody with a hearing loss, that makes it even more difficult to hear. So we want to wear the amplification. But as you pointed out, it becomes something trickier to consider when you've got a mask on. And there's a few ideas that I look at for how we can address that, because you do want to wear the hearing aids. I mean, communication is important. We don't want to lose that.
Yeah, and when I go into the market, what I've been doing, after 6 or 8 or 10 times, first, I've been trying to find a mask that ties here on my head away from the ear loops. Can't find them anymore. They're just, either they're not making them or they're just hard to find. So that's one. The other thing is that with the masks on, I do have difficulty talking to a store clerk. You know, where's the rutabaga? I don't even know what a rutabaga looks like, but I don't know how to hear when he says, oh, it's over there. And going through a checkout, sir, it's your turn, come on up, because I didn't hear that. Is that part of wearing the mask, not being able to hear as well?
That is part of your conversation partner wearing the mask, because there's 3 pieces I look at. And as I mentioned, you lose the visual cues because we all lip read, whether we think we do or not, we lip read. And when that mask covers you and you start to talk through that, the important frequencies for understanding speech go away. And when you add distance to that, that makes it even softer. One thing we've done is we've added in the app a face mask mode that targets those frequencies that are affected. So you can just press a button in the app and it can give a boost there in those same areas, because we've heard this issue. We addressed it right away to make a quick solution to just go in the app and press a button to help with that. That's to help you hear when they're speaking.
Amazing. I didn't know about that. Now that's terrific. I have to tell you my workaround, and it's not a good workaround. I leave the hearing aids in my car because I don't want to lose them. As I said, I've dropped them numerous times now, and I keep trying to figure out a way to have the mask on so that it doesn't get in the way of the hearing aid, but it's difficult. So to save them, that's what I've been doing. Is that a good thing to do or not?
You want to keep the hearing aids in whenever possible, because again, it makes those other challenges even more difficult when you don't have them. That's why we wear the hearing aids. We want the technology to help us hear better. And what I look at is a couple of different ways to address solutions for it. First, somebody that already has hearing technology can look at a few options there. And then for somebody considering some new technology, because this is obviously a new consideration. Because with different items of clothing, like scarves and such, and hats, this is something that we do want to be mindful of, is that we're wearing some technology on the ears, and it can get caught. With masks specifically, one thing I would consider is looking at something that doesn't go behind the ear, but look at like a gator mask, something that just pulls up. And that way you're limiting any contact here, and it's a different style of mask, but can still help give you the same benefits of the mask without interfering with the hearing aid.
Oh, that's an interesting way. The gator mask is not as tight on the mouth, though. So, which is, I have one someplace, and I haven't tried it because, one, it makes me feel like Zorro or a bandit, right? They all do. And I think we all have that problem. But I'll try that. But doesn't that still loop around the ear?
Those tend to just pull up and go around the back, is how the models I've seen. Another thing similar to what you were talking about with over the head is looking at some of the extenders that help relieve the pressure here, because now that's relieving a little bit of the contact behind the ear to help reduce that. Those are just a couple mask solutions. But then a couple other things to look at are something, and I'm going to look at the tip of this here. A lot of hearing aids have little silicone domes or sleeves that go right in the ear, and they're kind of a universal fit, similar to what you would get with earbuds.
Got it.
You can get, you can see this here, a custom mold. They come in any different shape and size to fit your ear specifically.
So it's a custom mold?
It is custom made. You would see the hearing care professional, and they would take an impression of your ear canal, and then the hearing aid would connect into that, and then it just pops right in, and I would put the hearing aid behind my ear, and then it's a more secure fit. So now it's something that fits in there a little more securely, and this would be something to bring up with the hearing care professional, say, hey, this is an issue I'm having. I'd like to try this. And acoustically, they can tend to be much better, because the needs of your hearing loss can also help be addressed with a custom-made ear mold.
And having that custom-made ear mold, as you just said, with a snugger fit, everything's going through more through the hearing aid than maybe around it.
Yep, you're going to process, the hearing aid gets more opportunity to process it, and there's still things we can do to make it vent, because it'll fit comfortably, because it's made for your ear. So an option there.
Right. And what about using a larger click dome? Those are the little devices that you throw away every couple of months or every month or so, because they fill up with earwax and block the sound. But if you used a bigger one, it just hit me just now.
A bigger one, there might be a factor. If yours is loose or not so tight, a larger one might fit a little more snugly, but you don't want anything that's too tight in the ear. If it starts to feel uncomfortable at all, take it out and go back to a smaller size. But it is another option to try to secure it in the ear a little bit more.
You have some other options for us too, and we're going to start with the behind the ear, and then we'll talk about the in canal. May not have as much problem.
Right. So one thing we look at in the model I was showing here, this is we call it receiver in the canal or behind the ear, because the body of the hearing aid sits behind the ear. This model specifically is called stiletto. And I point this one out because it's much slimmer and more discreet than other types of models, although the charge and go that you're wearing is actually very discreet as well. And I'm just trying to reduce real estate that it's taking up behind the ear, because if you've got glasses, if you have a mask and a hearing aid, it can get crowded. So going for something that's a slimmer, sleeker design just helps reduce the contact areas and make it all just more comfortable and less area for it to catch onto on the mask.
Does the stiletto have the same technology or a higher technology than some of the ones like I'm wearing?
So we have all the most current technology here. We have the most current technology in the charge and go as well as in the stiletto. So our new experience technology is in the marketplace in these styles.
You had some ideas about extenders. I didn't quite understand that, and I guess that's for the
mask. So there's extenders they put on the mask because you get a lot of, especially if somebody that's wearing them nonstop. Think of a lot of your nurses and physicians that are wearing them all the time. It can get uncomfortable there. So there's little extenders that go behind the head that take the pressure off the ear and just help hold the straps there. So then it's a different, you're taking it off, you're adjusting it a little bit differently, but it's not right there in the same area as close.
And
there's still going to be some contact, but it's reducing it.
got it. I think that, some of the issues that I have, as I've said, when you go into the market, I wish I could see everybody's face completely. I was at a market the other day, and I was in the parking lot, and an older couple was walking into the market, and older even than me, and they smiled at me, and I smiled back at them, but I was wearing my mask, and I said, I'm smiling at you guys. And they said, we could see it in your eyes, kind of, right? And they went back to their car because they had forgotten their mask. My point is that, as you mentioned, being able to see the mouth is really important, not only for those of us who are hard of hearing, but for normal hearing people as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we actually all hear better with our glasses on.
Is that true? My wife says that.
Actually, yeah, because of the visual cues. When you can see the lips more clearly, there's aspects of pronunciation that we learn from infancy. I mean, a child starts associating sounds with the lip movements, and so they know what you're saying, and we just continually develop that. So when you can't see somebody's face, it is harder. So that's where the mask comes in. That's where wearing your glasses actually does make it easier to hear, because you're getting those improved visual cues.
But with the glasses, as we've said, and the mask and the hearing aids behind the ear, it becomes entangled. What about the in-canal versions of the product?
So there are other styles. What I've got here, this is called the Silk, and this is very tiny. And this goes, it's kind of it's a click in the ear design. So I can put it in here, and I just tuck it right into my ear, and it disappears. So there's not a lot of contact there. You can also get custom in the ear models that are maybe as small as that, or a little bit bigger, depending on dexterity wise. You might want something larger that's easier to handle, but it's all in the ear and not behind the ear.
And I would assume that rather than having a lot of controls on that small one, you just use some kind of software on.
Let the app can help control it. A lot of times we'll have multiple, on the larger models, we can have some added microphones for improved directionality, similar to the style you're wearing. These actually still have some directionality just by wireless communication between them. So we want to give as much technology in a little housing, and that does help reduce any of the contact in the ear, because now you could have the glasses and the mask there, and this would be directly in the canal. So it's a consideration when you're looking at new technology.
When you're looking at that particular, the in canal, is the software, the processing as strong as what I'm wearing, or even better?
So the processing essentially is the same processing, the same type of chip in there. We have to do a few tricks to make it all fit. What can make a difference is the speaker we can fit in there. So it may not be appropriate for everybody, but the technology, the core technology is the same. So it's just different ways we configure everything.
Wow. Is the technology changing rapidly in the hearing aid industry?
We see things go very quickly. We usually see it's around every 1.5 to 2 years that you'll see another new platform come out, because we're constantly working on new innovations and how to just help people hear better, not just in quiet, but in the difficult noise situations. When you're at the market, let's help, now that we have masks, another consideration. So we're doing a lot to really keep the technology going and help in as many situations as possible.
I just thought of another thing that people could do, like me. I go into the market with my cell phone because, like you, Eric, when you go to the market, you'll call your wife and say, do you want 3 tomatoes or 2? And she'll give you the number. Even though she's already given it to you, you've probably forgotten it. And that's cross-gender, by the way, because if she goes to the market, she calls me and asks me, right?
Yep.
There's a function on the phone in the software where I can use the mic on the phone, which is here, and get outside sounds. Would that work in a market?
Yeah, because actually that function, there's a couple different things, considerations of that. So on Apple branded phones, that's working specifically on those that the phone can act as a microphone. And I would actually say it's acting as a remote microphone. You could hand that to somebody, still maintain distance, and then that would stream directly through the hearing aids. For phones that don't have that capability, we actually have remote microphones that specifically for that type of purpose that you could hand the microphone and it would stream directly to the hearing aids. So there are options with that to help, again, reduce those communication issues.
Eric, I thank you very much for spending some time with us today. What's the website that people should look at? Because you have so much information all the time about hearing loss, how to find a hearing professional. Really a great website. Where do you want people to go?
We have a lot of information at signiausa.com. So we'll talk about hearing loss, and current hearing aid technology.
Got it. Eric, will you come back and talk to us again?
Hey, I'm always happy to. I appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Hold on. I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health. We'll be back very soon.